joined by Christoph Hutter, revenue strategy consultant, coming to us from Ottawa, Canada. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thank you very much for having me. How are you?
I'm well. You don't sound like a Canadian.
I'm not. The funny German accent that's coming through is because I'm originally from Austria. So I was born in Vienna, but I have lived abroad for quite a while, let's say.
Yeah.
First time I went abroad was when I was 16, and I'm a little bit older than that now. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and I've been in Ottawa since 2012 with a 2-year break, but it's a fantastic city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are having quite a resurgence in cases, I think, right?
Yes, things are really not looking the way I would love them to be. We are in lockdown. Schools have been closed for this week and everything is remote. And I am a little bit doubtful whether that will change next week. They plan to reopen schools next week, so we will see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk with you about seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but that tunnel keeps moving. That light keeps moving farther and farther back.
Well, I think that we need to look at the big picture, and the big picture is that we have the vaccine. And last I looked was last night, and I think by now probably about 15 million people were vaccinated globally with their first dose. There will be a second dose for them. And that's with basically two pharmaceuticals providing these vaccines. And with all the other ones that are going to come, and then we can expect a number of other manufacturers to join that, there will be a significant uptake in how the vaccine can be distributed. So we will see a very rapid spread. Now, rapid is relative, of course, because most countries choose to first go with retirement homes and frontline workers and essential people to get the vaccine, as it should be, of course. So until the general public can be vaccinated, we all kind of hear from the media that by the second half of the year, so Q3, something like that, we can expect that the average person can get the vaccine. And I think that's when we will really see that shift from the catastrophe that we have right now to something that is a little bit easier than this.
Yeah, so for the next few months, a lot of hotels will still be in survival mode.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's I've seen it with my clients. I've seen it with a lot of other hotels. It is really, really hard. And I mean, obviously everyone in this space knows about it and everyone is affected by it. There are a number of hotels that I work with that are still closed. Some have been able to reopen, but the occupancy levels are just catastrophic, and that will change at some point. But as we just said, that the light got maybe pushed a little bit back.
So what should hotels do about I think we've become accustomed to hunkering down in survival mode, but eventually we've got to shift gears and start thinking about gaining some of that market share, because I suspect there's going to be quite a bit of the travel. I mean, revenge travel. People are going to be scrambling, I think.
Absolutely.
At some point. So what should they be doing?
Yeah. So and we have seen that basically last summer, that when people were able to travel, they all went traveling, and all these resorts and vacation properties, they did really well, and a lot of them have had their best year ever. And then of course when the fall hit, that changed, and then numbers went up everywhere. So what I think is important now to learn from that and to prepare, because at some point demand will come back, but it will be slow at first. As we said, the vast majority of people is only going to get the vaccine sometime in the second half of the year at the earliest. And so what they need is to get ready. Now, what does that mean? That's the big question. I always say, and it's always the first step, and it's nothing really new. You need to get your house in order. You need to make sure that everything is as it should be. And that means looking at the property operationally, having a look at your operating procedures. But when it comes to my specialty, which is revenue management, hotel technology, there's a lot of potential for improvement, because a lot of houses are not in order when it comes to these topics.
So where should they begin? What does that look like?
For me, the solid basis is always to have a solid PMS. Now, we maybe cannot change the PMS from one day to the other. These decisions take their time and they need to be well prepared. But what we can do is we can make sure that it is set up properly and set up as best as it could be. And there's always room for improvement. Rethinking maybe a market segmentation, things like that. In revenue management, we work with historic data. Well, that is something that we can put aside for a little while. The past few years' trends, they will not be very usable in the at least short-term future. So we need to look much more in the short-term trend, recent pickups of the last couple of weeks or something like that, and base decisions on these. But the question is our market segmentation adapted to that? Is the way how we can look at the data adapted to that? Do we need to bring in some business intelligence tools, which most hotels don't have? We always talk about revenue management system. Should we have a revenue management system? And we should. But before we can bring that on board, I always say, you need to have business intelligence in place to understand how you need to configure your RMS. Because without knowing your business and having all these really, really granular, detailed insights, how are you going to set that up so that you get the best out of it? And that's, I think, a really, really good moment that hoteliers can look at that and analyze their data. It's not that much to analyze right now, and to go really granular, and to start from there to get the house in order in a way.
I'm starting to get a sense that the revenue management role is changing, has changed, and in a lot of hotels, it's no longer reactive, and they're really coming along, stimulating demand with sales and marketing and even operations. I mean, are you seeing that?
Yeah, definitely. And, we have seen that for a number of years already, that the traditional revenue manager, which in reality, in most cases, was a yield manager with a different title, focusing on increasing the price here and decreasing it there, maybe launching a promotion on the OTAs. And that was basically it for a lot of hotels. Revenue management is much broader. First of all, we need to look at total revenue. So not just room revenue, but all the ancillary revenue as well. We need to look at the cost that is associated with it. Just looking at ADRs is great, is important, but an ADR is an average. An average in reality is always a bad place to start anything. You need to understand, so maybe work with medians instead of averages. So you need, like I said, you need to have a far greater understanding and go much more granular. And when it comes to this shifting role, well, because of the need during the pandemic, maybe there were decreased staff levels. There were, even if the hotel was lucky enough to work with the same kind of staff levels on the revenue and sales side, the one thing is for sure, we're no longer in the position where we're waiting for business to come in and turn it away. Something that revenue management was all about for a long time. We are now in the position where we have to get the business. We have to figure out how can we get the business, and that's important because when demand will come back, it will be slow at first, and the only way how we can really grow revenue there, the only growth potential that I see is to gain market share, which means we have to get a bigger piece of the pie. The pie itself won't get bigger. So we need to increase our size.
Right. All right, Christoph. Well, we're out of time, but I appreciate you joining me, sir.
Thank you very much.
You bet.